Well, another pretty ordinary morning. Low cloud and rain about. Bit of breeze here, not much. I'm going to skip up to Schouten Passage this morning, probably about 20 mile. Just looked at the weather, as you always do, first thing in the morning. And it's looking like next week, Wednesday, Thursday, there's a big front coming through, a big low pressure system. We're going to get a lot of wind out of it. I'll be hiding somewhere out of that, but by about Thursday there's a big high coming across the bight, and that should give me pretty good weather for the jump across, so I'll keep an eye on that and sort of half plan to get across to the mainland later next week. Well, we don't wear skimpy bikinis. Hell, it frightens me when I take my shirt off. There's definitely no one pregnant here. This is motor sailing for old dudes. We do live on a boat, and we do cruise extensively along the Australian coast. Join us and visit some great destinations. Learn how to look after a boat and live off grid. It might even get you enthused to do the same thing. Hey, stay out there till you can't. Getting along nicely. The wind's starting to settle in a little bit, I think, and we're doing 5.8. Got about 3 hours up to Schouten, and I think it's time to go and make a cup of coffee. I think I'm going to push up the coast a little bit to Wineglass Bay. We've done these beaches here on the way down to Tassie, so I'll go up to Wineglass and have a look around in there. It's a great little spot for an overnighter, or maybe two. Well, we're back out into the Tasman Sea again, and the wind has just about left us, so the wind's dying right out. We'll get up round the corner here, probably another hour's travel, and we're up at Wineglass. It's a pretty spectacular little bay, and it puts us that much closer to St Helens for tomorrow or Wednesday, I think. I'm going to miss this spectacular coastline. The colours of the rocks and the steepness of it straight into the sea is pretty awe-inspiring. Lemon Rock Okay, so just managed to jibe the headsail without furling it, so it needs a little bit of trimming, but we've altered course, heading around to the west now into Wineglass Bay, and we'll motor sail out of the wind in a minute, so once I get up here I'm probably going to have to furl it anyway. Well, it's time for a walk, and I've been on the boat for 2 days straight now, so just out getting the legs stretched, and what better place to do it. Well, this is Wineglass Bay, one of the prettiest anchorages on the coast. Magnificent beach, beautiful backdrop of mountains, pretty well bulletproof as far as wind goes. You can hide and hear out of nearly anything, and just a fantastic spot. Part of the Fresno National Park, but it really is a pristine little anchorage, and there's a bit of sun out. Fantastic. Well, what a magnificent place this is, Wineglass Bay. I really had forgotten just how spectacular this bay is. The mountains in the background, the crystal clear water, the white sandy beach. It's absolutely stunning, to be honest. And we've had a lovely afternoon. The sun's been out. I've walked along the beach. Just been great. I think tomorrow's going to be not too bad for most of the day. We might have to be here for 2 or 3 days just waiting for the weather to skip up to St Helens, but it's a great feeling being in a place like this and being able to stay here overnight, and just to go to bed with the grandeur of the place, and go to sleep with the waves crashing on the beach and knowing you're in a pretty safe and secure little anchorage. I have got a pretty good lifestyle. So this will be the second night in Wineglass. Not as nice a day today as it was yesterday, but there's quite a few boats in the anchorage. A few just came in recently. We've got 2 or 3 cray boats in here, and the rest are pleasure boats. I think mainly from around Tassie, but yeah, I'm not sure, some might be heading north as well. Anyway, it's going to be an early start in the morning.
bit of a light wind day. Hopefully it gets around to the southwest a bit, northwest to southwest they reckon, so hopefully we get a bit of southwesterly in it, and that'll do us just fine to get up to St Helens. It's about 50 odd mile from here, so I'll be leaving early and crossing that bar. I think it's high tide at around about 4 or 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, so I'll check that out, but yeah, I'll get there before high tide and cross the bar and get into St Helens. I've ordered a new diesel heater on the internet, and that's on the way, so that's getting delivered to the post office at St Helens, so hopefully I get that when I get up there and I can fit that for the cold nights ahead coming into winter. Anyhow, big day tomorrow. Done my engine room checks, they're all looking good, so we're ready to go early in the morning. The dinghy's up on the back and lashed on, and yeah, we're ready to rock and roll. Just a bit of dinner now and into bed early. Chicken coconut curry with naan bread is on the go tonight. Put the rice on in a minute and we'll settle in for a bit of dinner.
Well, it's 03:30, very calm night, so we're going to make a few miles before the sun comes up. Boys out crayfishing around the nuggets. Sun's on the way up and we're on our way to St Helens. Probably won't get there till nearly 4 o'clock this afternoon, so pretty long trip, but conditions are pretty nice out here, although the wind's not really doing that much for us, so I hope the wind goes around to the south a little bit and gives us a bit of a hand. It might make the trip a bit quicker. Beautiful way to start the morning. So this is Bicheno up in front. We've got about another 9 hours to run after there. Looks like being a nice day though. Well, I've just been trying to get going a bit. We're only doing about 3.5 knots, very slow, and I've just used my bathoscope to look over the side, and I got weed all around the props. I've tried to get it off by just stopping and going in reverse, but she's not coming off, and I'm going to have a swim in the middle of the ocean to get rid of it. Oh. I'm not sure if the camera was rolling when I got into the water. I just jumped off the back to have a look, and it must have just dropped off when I sat still for a minute, so it's all gone. So let's get the boat fired up and see if we can do a bit more speed. That was bracing. Well, it's a bit better. We're back up to 4.5. We're down to about 3.8. So that's more like what it should be. Flat calm out here at the moment. I just had to stand up and have a look. There's a couple of little toadies swimming away from the boat, but there's not a breath of wind.
It's been a beautiful morning, but we're not doing much speed. I'm down around about 4.5 knots, and just trying to get that lifted up a bit. The wind's still heading us a bit. It's still a bit hard on the nose, but I think there's enough angle there that I might be able to get a bit of sail out. So I'm just going to try and get the sail out on this side of the boat and see if we can point into it a bit. We'll give it a go anyway. Well, that's about as good as I can get it. It's still a bit fine, but we picked up about 1/2 knot with that bit of wind assistance, so definitely better than nothing. But, well, it's taken all afternoon. We're only an hour and a half out of St Helens. That's St Helens Point, you can see up in front of us. But the wind's gone round now and I've got the sail back out. I just got to do it. We've gone from doing about 4.3 to 5.2, 5.4. So you pick up that extra knot and it makes your travel time a lot better. I wish I could have done it all day. I would have been in and anchored by now. Anyway, we're just passing St Helens Island out to the port here. Bit of an anchorage behind that apparently in a northerly, but we're going to go up to St Helens, and I think the bar will be pretty good today. It's quite light, the wind, and we'll be getting there a bit after high tide, so we'll hop into St Helens. Well, that didn't last long, about an hour I reckon. Now the wind's dropping out again, so the sail's coming back in, and this will be the last time. I'm about probably 40 minutes away from the St Helens bar, so gave us a bit of good speed for an hour or so, and now the wind's died out and we're back to about 4. Yes, and to finish the trip, now the wind's gone around hard to the north, right on the nose, and we've only got another 25 minutes to go, but we're going to punch it all the way up to St Helens Point, I think. But the first trick is just to get across the bar. With the wind blowing like this, the bar's pretty sheltered, so I don't think we'll have any trouble on it. But just got to get over a bit further before we line it up. We're just going to head a fair way closer to the shore in front of us. And as we turn around, you'll see a buoy that's actually marking a wreck. We leave that about 20 metres on our starboard side. From where I am now, there's a yellow mark out to port, and I've got that probably 100 metres off to my port side. No need to get too close to that. And we'll just turn around now and start heading for that mark you can see on the wreck. This is the outer bar here, so we're starting to get into some shallower water here. Down to about 3.5 metres there, and then our track is going to be towards the rocks you can see on our starboard side, so we keep them pretty close as we head in. That's where the deep water is. From about here, we've got to alter our course to port and head across to the other seawall and the sand dunes, and we've got to hold that seawall pretty close to our port side when we get across. We'll get shallower here, and I'm not sure where the deepest part is, but we do go across another sandbank to get to the deep water near the end of that seawall. tide's still flowing in here. It must be pretty close to high, but I'm carrying about nearly 4 metres coming across that section. Bit of pre-planning here. While I've got a bit of time, I'm just going to get my fender boards out and the fenders out. I'm on my own, so I've got one big ear to help me. Okay, so before I even get near the dock, I've got all my lines prepared. I've got my fenders out, my fender boards out. I'm not sure if they're in the right spot yet, but at least it's something, because I know that the dock in here is not fendered. You're tying up to piles, so you need fender boards when you come into St Helens. But everything's set up, all my ropes are set up, so when I get alongside I can toss a rope on and secure the boat and then jump off and get it tied up properly. Well, that's been a pretty long day. Lots of sail changes, wind's been up and down, it's been quite a long trip. I left at 4:45, I think. So that's 14 hours. It's a long time, but anyway, it's only a small proportion of what I've got to do to get across Bass Strait. So I'm going to have to do 3 times that much to cross Bass Strait, but it's all doable. Anyway, I'm looking forward to getting into St Helens, getting the boat tied up. I rang the guy that sells the fuel, and he said I can tie up at the fuel jetty tonight, so that's great. So I've got the fenders out, got my ropes ready. I'll go and tie the boat up, and then I'm going to have a little beer, I think, before I have some dinner. I reckon I burnt that. That was a big run.